Pat used to do this thing where he would text people during the show and not pay attention, then be like, I'll tell you another thing, guys. That car is red. And we're like, we just said the car was red, Pat. Quit texting. Now he's on his calendar. And he and my wife are the only two people I know on earth who use a paper calendar. I don't even know why they print them anymore. Because on your phone, they have this thing called a calendar.
Things are durable, my man.
Yeah,
they
well,
go
so is my
anywhere.
phone. So is my phone. I take my phone in the bathroom with me. I take it in the shower with me. I take it to bed with me at night.
I gotta be honest with you. You lost me a Velocity Raptor.
Raptor.
I mean,
you're tuning us out. You're not paying attention. Put your calendar away. Whatever you're planning is
I
not
want to talk to Jim Harris.
Whatever you're planning is not as important as what you're doing now.
Jim's my guy.
We're going to talk to Jim after I get done chastising you for ignoring me.
So far, until I've just come on and we could top it, the best moment on this show has been when you had the guy telling you twins, sport twins, and all of a sudden we're talking about brothers and sisters. And that was really good.
Well, brothers
and sisters. The Van Arsdales.
We mentioned them repeatedly.
Yeah. Thanks for mentioning that, Jim.
We mentioned them 4 times. Is there who's the most successful brother and sister twins in the history of sport, Jim? Give me something.
The Van Arsdales.
Oh, was one was a boy and one was a girl. Okay. I thought they were both boys.
Oh, you want a female twin?
Yeah.
Tom and Dick.
A boy and a girl. It's a weird name for a girl.
Oh, a boy-girl twin?
Yeah, boy-girl twin athlete.
Jack and Jill.
No, they went up the hill, and they weren't that good athletes. The one dude broke his crown.
No, one broke his
crown. One had a buck and a quarter, and he came down with...
bumbling after. I mean, come on.
The other one was stumbling, pregnant or something. I don't know.
No, I think that's a new twist on an old...
Oh!
That's the X-rated version.
What's his name?
Dice Clay.
I don't know the brother-sister. How about wait a minute. Was David, is his name Meyer? And Nancy Meyer, were they twins?
Wow, you're really reaching back, Jim.
I don't know.
Could be. David Meyer played for the last wooden UCLA team, and Nancy played for the women's UCLA team, and now she's doing color with Amy, what's her name, on your network.
Were they twinsies?
I'm thinking they may have been twins.
Okay, if we did a brother-sister bracket, just brothers and sisters, no twins, but I mean, give me a brother-sister bracket. Who's your top brother? Reggie. What about Reggie Lewis? Not Reggie Lewis.
Reggie and Cheryl.
Reggie and Cheryl.
Yeah, probably the best.
Not Reggie Lewis. Reggie
Miller.
Reggie
and Cheryl.
Miller.
Yeah.
And Cheryl Miller.
It's Miller. Cheryl Miller.
Those are probably. Well, she is.
I don't know how it gets much better than that.
It just does. I mean, she's regarded as possibly the best women's basketball player of all time.
By whom?
By her, like, 5 100-point games.
She's no Cheryl Swoops. She's pretty good, though. Okay. All right, we settled that pretty quickly. Jim, Bobby Portis, second-team All-American. Do you think this makes it more likely or less likely that he returns to Arkansas next year?
I don't think it has anything to do with it.
All right. Good answer.
I think he'd be coming back. But who is this guy? I keep forgetting his last name because he barely played. He came off the bench for Texas. Miles
Turner, yeah.
Turner. God, dude, if he's going pro,
he's 6'11".
Bobby, your world's better than this guy.
Well, yeah, but I mean, if he's a late first-round pick, that may be enough for him. Bobby doesn't necessarily want to settle for that.
Well, Miles Turner should not be settling either. The guy averaged 10 points and 6 rebounds a game.
There's a lot of uncertainty in Texas, though, Jim.
A lot of uncertainty unless they hire Greg. I'm bad with last name.
Greg Marshall.
Smart. But wouldn't you agree, though,
Greg Marshall.
Jim, we see it every year. There are a group of freshmen that decide before they even go to college, that they're going to leave.
Absolutely.
Regardless of anything.
These guys are just, they've got stars in their eyes. They've got dollar signs. Probably that had something to do with Texas struggling at times. They got too many guys who think that way. I mean, you got to give it to Calipari. I mean, he's got 10 of those kind of guys, but he gets them not thinking that way. Yeah. And he's gotten this group thinking totally about the team. I mean, no doubt, Towns will be a top 5 pick, maybe the second pick. Cauley Stein's hung around there now for a third year, and he can come out now. The Harrison twins, I guess, can come on out. I don't know if they're, immediate stars or anything, but they'll have good pro careers. They're saying that, the Booker kid. If I was Booker, I would hang around and be the leader of next year's Kentucky team myself. I don't think his family doesn't lack for money or anything like that. And
we were just talking about his father was on the AP All-American second team with Corliss back in the day.
Wow. It's too bad he didn't want to play for Mike Anderson at Arkansas.
I find it hard to believe that Corliss did not make first-team All-American ever. That's just ridiculous to me.
I didn't know that he didn't. Now that you say that, I thought he did one year. But
according to my man Pat Bradley,
second team on all accounts.
Both years.
Both years.
That's amazing.
Well, who was ahead of him? Rashad.
Daniel Marshall.
Yeah, 94. You're talking Grant Hill, Jason Kidd.
Clifford Rozier, you mentioned.
Clifford Rozier, Louisville. And Glenn Big Dog Robinson and Danielle Marshall for Connecticut, UConn.
He was unanimous second team, though. I don't know. I'm just kidding. They don't probably do that. But
there was actually 6 guys on the second team.
Let's see, 94, I think he won the national championship. I bet he was happier with that.
I'm going to guess they take a second team in a ring all day. So, Jim, hirings and firings going on. I read through the list earlier. I'm going to run through this list again real quick, and then we're going to get your thoughts. By the way, it is official, according to reports today, that Rick Barnes has left the burnt orange for the bright, obnoxious orange of the hills of Tennessee. Congratulations. And you know what? That's one more high-profile name added to the SEC roster of coaches, because with all due respect to Donnie Tyndall, Rick Barnes is much more of a household name by comparison. Luckily, Donnie's got that Sunday morning radio show to fall back on from 9 to 12.
I still want to know how Rick Barnes got Kevin Durant from Baltimore to Austin, Texas.
It's called
I still want to know.
Strajol. The bigger
Frank
question
Hayes.
is, how do they not win a national championship ever with all the talent they've had roll through?
Frank Haith was the recruiter then?
Called Frank Hayes.
Yeah.
Spending 24/7 around him.
I love you,
By
Kevin.
violating any kind of rule there was, or bending them, let's just say.
Oh,
they
okay.
didn't
I
break
didn't know
any
he was
rules. They just ran up against them.
I can't remember the last time there were this many openings. A lot of them are mid-majors or smaller. I don't know what's smaller than a mid-major. Small major.
A little major.
But they're Division I. So VMI, Green Bay, Bucknell, St. John's, which we think Mullen's going to take that, Arizona State.
Yeah, I thought I read this morning he is taking it.
Okay. I think this is Bradley. This is covered up by an ad here. Geno Ford, was he the coach there?
Mm-hmm.
Bradley's open. Southeast Missouri State, we know Dickie Nutt got let go. Alcorn State, Mississippi State, Fordham, Kennesaw State, George Mason, San Diego, UALR. Anybody heard of that place? Northern Kentucky. Charlotte, which I would think it would be a pretty good job.
Oh, that's the one that I thought Mark Price just took Charlotte.
Mark Price. Alabama, out Anthony Grant.
Mississippi State was taken by Ben Howland, so
We're going to debate. Oh, that's true. Yeah, we're going to debate. I want to debate Alabama with you in a minute, Jim. DePaul, East Tennessee State. Steve Forbes is taking that
here's
job.
DePaul. DePaul hired Dave
that's right.
Lato.
Who they let go before?
Yeah. Well, no. He left.
He didn't let go. He
for
moved
Virginia.
on and was unsuccessful.
Okay.
But he left for Virginia.
Steve Forbes is in at East Tennessee State.
Exactly.
He was an assistant at Wichita State under Greg Marshall, formerly at Tennessee with Bruce Pearl. And he also, Jim, you may remember, has connections to the state of Arkansas. I think he was a Henderson State assistant at one point.
There's some other.
Maybe he's from Magnolia. Maybe maybe Southern Arkansas. Nevada, David Carter out in Eric Musselman.
Yeah, Musselman is back, baby.
Is the University of Nevada? Is the University of Nevada in Reno?
Yes.
I would like to go there. That would be a fun place to coach. Illinois Chicago's out head coach in Steve McClain, the former head coach at Wyoming. The Citadels got a new head coach. They hired Duggar Baucom at the Citadel. He was at VMI previously. Pennsylvania's head coach out in Steve Donahue.
Oh, BC coach?
Speaking of the Citadel, can I just change your subject for just 1 second?
Please don't. Let me finish. I've only got 3 more coaches.
Okay, go do your 3, and then I want to say one thing about the Citadel.
SIU, Edwardsville, Liberty, Utah Valley has Mark Pope as a head coach now, though.
Hey, okay, good.
Holy Cross, Bill Carmody, longtime Northwestern coach, had success at Princeton prior to being named the head coach at Holy Cross. And then last but not least, Utah State, Steve Morrill out, Tim Duryea in.
A lot of changes.
Yep.
A lot of people looking for that right guy.
Okay, tell me about the Citadel.
I just want to know why. Do you watch House of Cards?
No, but I hear it's great.
Well, okay, then if you don't watch it, you wouldn't even know what I'm referring to. But the main character went to school in South Carolina at he calls it the Sentinel. I mean, obviously, it's supposed to be the Citadel. Why couldn't they have just called it the Citadel?
I don't know.
I mean, if a guy went to the University of Arkansas, you wouldn't say, he went to Arkansas College.
Right. Although, Minnesota State was what they used on Coach.
It's coming back on TV, by the way.
Yeah, it's actually a school now, too.
It's great.
Everybody's
show.
All-America. He played for Louisiana. He didn't play for Louisiana State.
What was the name of the school, the fictional school in Necessary Roughness? What was the one in The Waterboy? It was like the Louisiana...
That was Louisiana or something, wasn't it?
They had a weird Louisiana school that doesn't exist. Anyway.
Southern Louisiana. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what do you think about let's talk about the Alabama job. Yeah, I mean, Pat and I have debated this, and I try to put it in order mostly. I was just kind of putting it in the pecking order of openings, and it looks like now Tennessee's got their coach. Texas, we assume, will get whoever they want that's available because the money will be right and the opportunity there is excellent. I mean, Arizona State and Alabama, we were debating at length. I think Arizona State's a better job. Pat doesn't necessarily. I can see what he's saying. There's certainly a case to be made both ways. What kind of coach wants to go to Alabama, and how big of a hurdle do you think it is to make that program relevant in the current environment?
I think a good coach can make it relevant in a couple of years.
Okay.
I think the talent in Alabama is deep. I think a lot of it's been going to Kentucky these last 5 years. I think Alabama's been on the verge at different times under Wentz Sanderson and C.M. Newton before him of having. I mean, there was a stretch that Wimp went to Sweet 16s like, gosh, close to 8 or 9 years in a row. Could have been more than that. Even when a Sweet 16 was really pretty tough to get into. I mean, it seems like it's luck now more than anything. I mean, but they were almost a shoe-in for a Sweet 16, it seemed like. Several years in a row, they had James Robinson and, Latrell Sprewell, Robert Ory, and that last really great Alabama run in the early 90s. He had pretty good teams in the mid-90s. I think, Pat, you probably went up against pretty good talent at Alabama.
If Mississippi State can go to a Final Four in 96, Alabama can go to a Final Four in a couple of years as well.
See, Alabama made a mistake, kind of like Arkansas kind of made a mistake. They turned the program over to David Hobbs after Wimp got into some problems, and then after Hobbs, let it really kind of tumble pretty good. Then they went to Mark Gottfried, and say what you want to about Gottfried, he can get some talent there, but he just doesn't get them playing consistent basketball. He's been that kind of coach at Murray. He's been that kind of coach at Alabama. He's that kind of coach at NC State. That was a really talented NC State team he had that, could play stretches of outstanding ball. They beat Duke. They beat North Carolina. They've got some good wins this year, and they knocked out, number 1 seed Villanova. So how do you go from knocking out number 1 seed Villanova to basically being a 9th seed or an 8th seed in the tournament? I mean, you must be, inconsistent, and probably stems from the top. But anyway, back to Alabama, that was what's happened to them since the groundwork that C.M. Newton, the foundation that he laid. He gave Indiana the toughest game Indiana had in the 76 season when Indiana went undefeated. It was like a 5-point game, and he had 5 tremendous basketball players at Alabama that were all from the state of Alabama, and they lost 64-59. Indiana went on to win the national championship and go undefeated. But there's the right guy, the fundamentally sound guy, the guy that can recruit and keep the talent in state at Alabama can win there. And of course, but now Auburn's got, Bruce Pearl. Here's what's really bad is that Anthony Grant beat Bruce Pearl twice this year, and yet it was everything that Bruce Pearl did in the SEC tournament and all the publicity Bruce Pearl managed to get, and to be on network TV constantly, and selling Auburn's program, which went 4-14 in the SEC, that disturbed the Alabama faithful so bad that they decided they had to dump Anthony Grant at this time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't think he's necessarily done anything to get dumped for. I mean, he was the Shaka Smart before Shaka Smart. He was the next big thing.
Yeah.
And he's had some injury difficulties, and they haven't gotten the best players out of Alabama. And Kentucky's getting those guys. And but anyway, I just think they can sell a lot of money though at a guy like Greg Marshall, and kind of like the Texas idea, throw a lot of money at Nick Saban and we'll hire him. Well, it doesn't necessarily work that way. I think if I was Marshall, I think the only job I'd even be looking at taking right now that I know I could be pretty dominant at would be Texas.
Yeah, I agree with that. Well, and I hate to promote Texas, but you got to give them their credit. I mean, it's got to be an attractive job.
Well, Marshall can't. How much can he be making at Wichita State? He can't be making
just under $2 million.
It's pretty good.
And they love their basketball there. They do have a good booster situation up there at Wichita. I would love, and we talked about this last week, and I sat there with Chase Conk the last game, and there wasn't anybody. I mean, there was 1,000 or so watching the Trojans play Georgia State, and they beat Georgia State, and there was nobody sitting in that large gray section that's opposite the skyboxes. And I mean, we're sitting there going, somebody can come in here, be like the next Mike Newell and get this place packed again. And why can't Central Arkansas, get behind the Trojans, take it as their team, just like Omaha gets behind Creighton, just like Wichita gets behind the Shockers, and take this team and support it. I mean, you can still be a Razorback fan. They're not going to play. I mean, you can be a Razorback fan, but I don't think a lot of people these days are driving from Little Rock up to Fayetteville to see the Razorbacks play all the time anymore.
Right.
So it just seems like this is an ideal situation for a young, up-and-coming assistant coach like Newell was at a prominent school to take this job and to sell it and to get, top players in here. You can recruit from out of state and get some good players. He did it.
Any insight on the job?
Insight on who's going to get it?
Mm-hmm.
I haven't talked to anybody in over a week, and I don't know if it's going to boil down to where you're going to hear something more in the next few days. But no, I haven't. And I mean, I would hope that whoever takes the job, I mean, if it's not Joe Klein, and I really got to believe that it ought to be somebody who's going to just be working 24/7 on the recruiting trail, for one.
Mm-hmm.
But did they consider keeping Joe Klein as a bridge, from the program to continue on, if that's what Joe wants to do? But I think it's an ideal situation, but I wish that Little Rock would get behind it again, kind of like we were about to with the Trojans in 87, 88, 89, 90. I mean, there was a lot of support here. There was a lot of games that were drawing full houses at Barton Coliseum. I mean, that's 8,000 or so people. I mean, certainly we can fill a 5,600-seat arena that's every seat is close to the court. I mean, you don't feel far away even if you're at the top. It's a great...
Get a win, right?
You got to win, but they were on the verge. Steve Shields had it on the verge of being something special, and I think these past couple of years, I mean, I don't know if he necessarily got credit for doing what he did with so many injuries they suffered. I mean, the best player gets hurt last year. Gus Leeper got hurt when he was a freshman. I think it probably derailed his entire development for the most part. I mean, I know his freshman year he was really coming on as a solid player. This year, James White was hurt. He's their best player on this year's team. But it does take a real strong effort, not just to recruit, not just to get the players in here, but also to go, not necessarily door to door, but everywhere you can to sell this program to the guys who have the money and to support it that way and to get fans in those seats. It's a good entertainment value, though.
Yeah.
It's still a great entertainment value for good college basketball. Again, you had Georgia State there, and I'm not sure anybody wrote or talked about how decent how good a team that was coming in.
Yeah. Well,
I was there.
I think there was a lot of, they were sort of out of it. They were trying to fight their way into the Sun Belt tournament at that point, but when they're at the top of the standings, you typically see a little more interest in it, and we're partially to blame with that as well. Real quick, Razorback baseball back on the diamond tonight against Missouri State, and they'll play a weekend set at Auburn. And I wanted to mention quickly Bill Montgomery. It was announced, Jim, this week he's going into the Southwest Conference Hall of Fame, and we were looking at the differences in eras, and we had sort of thrown a couple of numbers out there. I've done a little research since we talked about it initially, but some of these numbers are, at the time were great, of course, 29 career touchdown passes, but now you look at the history book here for Arkansas. Ryan Mallett had 2 single seasons that he threw more than 29 touchdowns. It's pretty amazing, but 1,662 single season, 4,590 his career passing yards, and again, Mallett had almost 4,000 in one season, but it just shows you the difference in eras. But a great one for sure. I had a chance to do one pay-per-view game, and Bill Montgomery was in the booth, and I was on the sideline. But it was good getting to work with him that one game, and I know a lot of people have a lot of good memories of Bill Montgomery on the field.
You were probably surprised at how small he was, weren't you?
I don't know.
No, he was only about 5'10".
He's sturdily built, is the way I would say it. I wouldn't call him husky, but he's got good-sized hands.
James Street was the same way.
Yes.
James Street wasn't a big man at all.
Yeah, very much so.
I mean, you think about leading Texas to the national championship.
Broad shoulders, I would say. I've heard some good stories about Bill since then, but apparently he was a very confident player back in the day.
Oh, he was. And his father was sort of the guy that was more out there as a parent. Orville Henry would write about Catfish Montgomery all the time. He talked about a real visible, vibrant, garrulous kind of guy who was out there front and center about his kid and with the fans and having a good time and all that too.
That's great. Experience it. Enjoy it.
Jim, we got to run. Appreciate the time very much. SportingLifeArkansas.com. And I guess we'll talk next Tuesday. Who you like? If you can't pick Kentucky, who's your champion?
Probably Wisconsin.
Okay, not a bad pick.
I think when that guy threw in who was
Decker?
Decker?
Yeah.
You seen his girlfriend?
Nope.
Have you seen these pictures? Have you seen? It's all on sport.
Well, I saw a young lady
something?
Sitting next to his mother. So
well, she's this blonde girl, but go to SB Nation. They got a whole deal about it. She goes to Michigan.
Really?
And apparently that's a usual thing in the Big Ten. So that a guy at one school state and some girl from a rival college. But anyway, she's quite fetching. This is Decker, I guess.
Quite fetching. That's exactly right.
Yeah, who knows who's going out with
Frank the Tank?
Yeah, thanks a lot, Jim. Now we've lost all of our listenership. Now they're all Google searching Decker's girlfriend. But that's good. Way to go on a high note. See you, man.
Okay.
Appreciate it. 11:32.
Oh, by the way, Steve Forbes played baseball at Southern Arkansas.
He's an SAU guy.
Mule Riders.